Alright guys, so welcome to my channel. This commentary is going to be quite informal as it is very much so impromptu, but I wanted to have a discussion of toxic positivity. I find that when people excessively demand or rather mandate positivity, especially on their social platforms, there is this evasion of the proper acknowledgement of negativity. And I feel like it's important that we acknowledge negativity, not rather welcome it, but you definitely have to be open to the fact that negativity is inescapable. To anything that is good, there's also something bad. There's a yin, there's a yang, there's a God, there's a devil. You know what I mean? So the balance of life, you're always going to encounter the positive and or the negative. And I always like to speak in the tense of vibrations and frequencies. This is very scientific. Then it is spiritual, but it could also be spiritual and quite religious depending on what your practice is. But whenever I'm referring to vibration, I'm literally just referring to the energy, positive or negative. And when I'm discussing frequency, I'm discussing how high it is or how low it is. So you have positive vibrations at high frequencies. That means that you are probably hyperly happy or, at a standard level of happiness. When you're experiencing positive vibrations at a low frequency, you're probably not as happy or as positive as you should be. So I find that when you evade this negativity that you are warning off or warranting off, I don't know what the proper word would be for this, but when you're evading negativity, you're not allowing yourself the fullness of positivity. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I always love to reference The Conjuring, and I'm not going to get too deep into that film as it is based on true events or a true story. But, you see a lot of times in horror films, a lot of mysteries, a lot of thrillers, you have these vulnerable entities. You have these weak individuals. They're by themselves. Even you think of like horror films like Carrie, they're by themselves, they're ostracized, etc., etc. So they're not really the happiest people. You know what I mean? So they have a lot to be manipulated. So in order for you to really embrace positivity, you have to be aware of the negativity so you can be aware of its tricks, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, referring back to The Conjuring and not basing our discussion on Carrie, that family came into the house and they were so happy, they were so full of life. And then as the story progresses, they lose their liveliness. They literally are drained of happiness. They're literally draining their souls so that this entity has a vessel to consume. So without this acknowledgement of such, you wouldn't really know what you needed to do. Some people that are spiritually sound, depending on what their practice is, they're going to get a Bible and some anointing oil. They're going to call the pastor. They're going to get some sage and some crystals. Whatever you do, they know how to properly deal with this because they welcome, or rather make themselves knowledgeable of negativity. So hopefully this makes sense. Like I said, this commentary is quite informal as it is very much so impromptu, but I wanted to have this discussion because I hate when people always say like positivity only, no bad vibes. Like often sometimes, and I find just in my personal life, a lot of those people that say no bad vibes, a lot of those people that demand positivity can be some of the most negative mother suckers, can have the most nastiest way of thinking, can be the most hypocritical, the most ironic beings. Like, come on now, like chill out.